A load of influencers have allegedly secretly tested positive for COVID-19. A new blackface video featuring Shane Dawson and Joey Graceffa has emerged. Representatives have confirmed that Shane Dawson is alive following a cruel online hoax that said he had died. And of course, it's the return of YouTuber Watch. All this plus 14 consecutive hours of clog dancing on this week's edition of YouTuber News. Hosted by me, Benedict Townsend, at Benedict Town, and brought to you by PopBuzz, the only website that went to the Umbrella Academy to learn what an umbrella is. 6 years, 10 grand a term, but do I know what an umbrella is? Hell yeah, I do. The f is this? Yes, welcome back. I'm Benedict Townsend, filling in for our usual host, Rex Tibbins, who was chased out of town by angry villagers after trying to sell them a miracle cure for student debt. So sadly this week you're stuck with me, but we've got some pretty crazy stories for you this week. Starting with this, Elijah Daniel has alleged that a ton of influencers secretly have COVID-19, but are keeping it quiet. He tweeted, quote, "Warning, a lot of influencers have been confirmed to me testing positive for COVID-19 after the influencer parties. Like, a lot. And they aren't saying anything and aren't warning people they came into contact with after. If you attended, get tested, you're caused an outbreak, thanks." Now, this unfortunately does seem to be on track with a lot of stuff we've seen on social media lately. Of course, on the Quick Bites episode of YouTuber News this week. If you didn't know about this, we're now doing a very quick episode of YouTuber News every Tuesday on Snapchat and YouTube, where I do a quick rundown on what happened over the weekend. It's called Quick Bites. So if you missed that, we spoke about Tana Mojo being at a party with Erica Castell, which they obviously had to apologize for because you shouldn't go to a giant house party in the middle of a pandemic, particularly in America or California in particular, where there's such a huge outbreak of COVID. And on top of that, on a previous episode of YouTuber News, we talked about Jake Paul having a huge house party again in the middle of a pandemic. And on top of that, James Charles opened a recent video with a text disclaimer saying he had removed footage of him at a party from the video because he thought it was inappropriate and apologizing. So sort of trying to get ahead of the game there before he got cancelled. But yeah, he had clearly just attended a massive house party and then realized, ooh, probably shouldn't include footage of me at a house party in the middle of a pandemic. I don't know about you, these people seem to be going to more parties since the pandemic than they went to beforehand. Like, what is the rush? We all know about this. We've all been talking about it for the entire year. This is the most boring conversation topic on earth, COVID-19, because it's the one thing we never stop talking about, but you all know about it. Stop going to house parties. Particularly because, if Elijah is to be believed, you know, he hasn't offered any evidence, but his word against everyone else, he's claiming that all these people have tested positive and now don't know what to do and haven't said anything, likely because they'll be quite correctly called out for, you know, basically trying to catch COVID in the most obvious way possible. If you have COVID symptoms, get tested, don't go to a pool party. Our second story, Joey Graceffa has been criticized after a video emerged of him and Shane Dawson doing blackface. Imagine having so many blackface videos that a new one can emerge every week. The video was shared by the account @WigsandTea on Instagram, and it started Joey Graceffa's name trending on Twitter. In the video, Joey is applying foundation to Shane Dawson, and you know, midway through, he admits that it's, quote, "a little bit darker than your skin tone," to which Shane Dawson replies, "That's natural and subtle for Queen Latifah," which is the first of many racist jokes that happen in this video. Now, they're very clearly aware that this video is problematic. In the video, Shane Dawson says, quote, "Which part of this color did you think was not going to be racist?" And he goes on to say, quote, "My black fans are so angry right now." For his part, Joey says, quote, "I really didn't mean to. I did not mean to choose this dark of a color." But despite this, both of them, mainly Shane, continue to make very racist jokes and continue to apply the makeup in a way that ends with just full-on blackface. Now, since this Instagram went up, it's received over 16,000 likes and it's been viewed over 150,000 times. And naturally, people are not very happy about it. Now, Joey Graceffa, at the time of recording, has not said anything. Shane Dawson, for his part, has barely been seen online. He made his first appearance in any context last week. We covered that on last week's episode of YouTuber News. I hope this is the last blackface video we see emerging from Shane Dawson, but at this point, who's to know? Just pretty wild that this is what YouTube was like not that long ago. I remember when these videos were like the top trending videos. How? Our third story. Representatives have had to confirm that Shane Dawson is alive following a cruel online hoax that said he had died. So recently the hashtag RIP Shane became the top Twitter trend after an account pretending to be TMZ tweeted that he had died. And then representatives for Shane Dawson confirmed to the website Insider that he in fact was still alive. Now this trend seems to have originated from an account called @BocasClouds, which changed its profile picture and name to TMZ, which is the controversial news outlet that often breaks the story of celebrity deaths. They often come under fire because they will just report things as soon as possible without it being verified. It means that, you know, sometimes they're the first to a story, but it means that they are also sometimes completely wrong or falsely report things. But the name TMZ and a fake verified symbol seem to be enough to trick most of Twitter into thinking that this was real, and RIP Shane started trending. And I think at that point, I don't know if everyone necessarily believed it was real, but you know how people love a cruel joke, and people started just pouring in on that and using it as a chance to roast him. And look, Shane has done some pretty bad stuff. I think we could all agree on that. I think his cancellation was more than justified, but you shouldn't joke about people's deaths, particularly what is sort of implied to be a suicide off the back of controversy. It's incredibly dark. That just isn't funny. And that was echoed by a lot of users. One person tweeted, quote, "Whether you like Shane or not, this is so messed up. Joking about death is not funny. This could make Shane and his stand suicidal. This isn't cute or edgy. This is f***ed up. Stop the hashtag RIP Shane trend." And I have to echo this, it's not funny at all. Although I will say that that person themselves used the RIP Shane trend hashtag in their tweet, which is like an ongoing problem with Twitter. Something bad will trend, and then people will tweet that they don't like that trend, but use the hashtag. And so you end up with these weird situations where these horrible things trend, but everyone tweeting about it disagrees with the trend. But you're still making it trend, because Twitter is a broken website. Now it's time for YouTuber Watch, a popular segment where I zero in on one YouTuber and tell you what they got up to this week. It's a fun way to feature YouTubers, you know, not just when they've had a negative story about them. And this week, we're gonna focus on, what was that name? Got it in this list. Dan Howe. So we're gonna try Dan Howe Watch. Got a ring to it. It's time for Dan Howe Watch. Welcome to YouTuber Watch. I'm running out of name jokes to put at the start of this segment. What's Dan been up to this week? Well, last week I put Dan's fate into your slimy little hands. And I said that one of you could post a comment on YouTube about what should happen next on YouTuber Watch, and that I would choose one I liked at random, and that would be the next installment. And I found a comment from someone by the name of Black Rose M Love. Thank you to Black Rose M Love for their work on the ground, finding this information out and reporting that back to me, because of course these are all true events. You're a great reporter. You're our reporter of the week. Now, as you remember last week, Dan was at a factory that makes other factories with Tim Factory, the creator of factories, and he was with the rat as well. And they were venturing deep into the factory, some doors opened or something, and a bright light was shining in Dan's eyes, and it was either going to be his salvation or his doom. And I said, dum dum dum, what's going to happen next? And I'll tell you what happened next. The bright light filled the room like a light filling a room. "Oh my goodness, it's so bright, it's so beautiful. I know exactly what it is," said Dan. And then he woke up. He woke up. It was all a dream. And it turns out that Dan had fallen asleep watching the Factory channel, the best 24-hour round-the-clock channel about factories. Some people say it's Factory 24/7, but I think that channel is really bad, actually. It's kind of sold out. It's all about the Factory channel. He'd fallen asleep watching the Factory channel and had a fabulous dream about factories. Oh, what a fabulous dream. How fun it is to dream. Thank God the rat didn't fall into a river, and thank God I didn't meet Tim Factory. He was far too exciting a character. And he stretched his arms, and he brushed his whiskers, and he adjusted his tail, and he got up and went to the fridge and got himself some cheese, and then he turned to his kitchen mirror. You know how everyone has a floor-length mirror in the kitchen? And he said, "Good morning." Ah! Oh my God, what's happened to me? And he heard behind him, "Hello." And he turned around and he walked into the room. "What? How is that possible? Who are you?" said Dan, pointing at himself. "I'm Dan," said Dan. "No." Wait, "But why do you look like me?" said Dan. And at that moment, Dan and this fake Dan looked in the mirror, and Dan realized he was in the body of the rat, and the rat realized he was in the body of Dan. They had somehow switched bodies. "Oh my God, I've got a filthy rat body," said Dan. "Hey," said the rat, "easy now." I just realized he should have the rat's voice. "How could this have happened?" said Dan in the rat's body. "I don't know," said the rat, "but it's very obvious what we need to do." So then they left the house, hopped in the rat's red roadster, and went off to try and find a wizard so they could swap their bodies back. It's the classic tale. A tale as old as time. But will they be able to do it? Or will they die? Find out next time on Dan How What, which will be chosen by you. Leave a comment on YouTube, in the comment section preferably. I will choose one at random, and also if I like it, and that will be the inspiration for the next episode of Dan How What. It's called Engagement. Look it up. I'm Benedict Townsend. You can find me at Benedict Town on social media, and this has been YouTuber News, which airs every week on the YouTuber News YouTube channel and also on Snapchat Discover. And you can also catch YouTuber News Quick Bites every Tuesday on those same places. And you can also find the YouTuber News podcast also every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Is that enough content for you, you freaks? I'll be back very soon with one of those three things. Have an excellent week, look after yourselves, and remember, if you need to leave the house and it's raining, there's no way that I know of to keep yourself dry. If someone invents something that can do that, that would be amazing. But as far as I'm concerned, you just let the rain hit you. You just got to feel the rain on your skin. I mean, no one else can feel it for you. No one else can let it in, you know? That's what I've always said. Subscribe!